the topic for this is creating a true volunteer committee for your spring games. The topic is not how to get just general volunteers for your spring games, because that is a whole different set of volunteers who come out and assist you all. And we will reiterate the difference as far as how we categorize them in Special Olympics. Class B volunteers are those volunteers that come out just day of to help you all out.
As Kelly was mentioning, we're talking about Class A volunteers for your games management team. So those are the folks who are doing the background screenings and the protective behavior training. They will have a management role, so they need to go through those. We have several descriptions of what the games management team could comprise of. Depending on the size of your event, you may or may not need all these different volunteers. But we find with our statewide events that it's super helpful, or even for some of our local events that we work with closely, it's very helpful to have some folks to take some things off of your hands, or even if it's during spring games, to have someone who can handle some issues that come up right away, that come up during the day while you're handling so many different things. So we do have some expectations that, we expect the games management team to communicate with you and to go through any training that you may have. Our venue manager is going to work very closely with you at your venue if you're all at one location, but they'll be available to handle some logistics that may need to be handled while you're doing some bigger picture items, handling bigger picture items, and they can work with your facility or whatever it is that's going to be most useful. But definitely handling all those logistics and getting things unloaded in place, having any kind of layouts or schedules or anything like that, they can be in charge of that and help you. Can also have competition managers, which I imagine you may already have. The competition manager will become familiar with your schedule for the venue, and you guys can read these things. We'll send it out after. If you have a coaches meeting, they can run that, oversee competition, work with the officials, and handle the protests. An administration manager is someone that we can train with GMS, on GMS, so they can collect all the competition results and enter them into the software system, which is GMS. So that's something that we can train them on. We have webinars for that. And hold on a second. Oops. Awesome. And Kelly's back.
I might be back. How much can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Seriously? So exciting.
I can. You're good. You're good.
Wonderful. So sorry to be a bit disjointed on it. Kathy, do you want to just running through this list and me pick up?
Sure. So I'll continue on. So we talked about the administration, where that's somebody that we can train for you and get them all set with any kind of GMS training that they may need. Volunteer manager can work with your volunteers, whether that's in advance, preferably helping with recruitment or just kind of organizing, communicating with them. They can help you get them properly trained, whether that's sharing out some materials in advance, but also day of, making sure that we have a place to train the volunteers and conduct the training. You're going to have people with all kinds of experience. So you want to make sure they're all on the same level playing field in terms of, what is Special Olympics? How do we work with athletes? And then also then getting them trained with specific positions. And there's a note here that sometimes they're combined with other roles, maybe the awards manager, but you can determine what's going to be best for your group. The awards manager is the person who works with a specific team of volunteers to conduct the awards ceremonies at the conclusion of the competition. Now, this may be during, like some people do a rolling awards for your different like softball throw, and then go around and take care of that. And some people do it kind of at the end. It's going to be what works best for your group. But that's a crucial role, of course, as you know, the awards are very important. So you want to make sure you get somebody good there. Logistics manager, they can work with your venue manager and handle all the, as it mentions, all the non-competition aspects, delivery of equipment, setup, distribution of lunches, that sort of thing. They can be super helpful. We really rely on our logistics managers. If you had some athletes who weren't competing who could volunteer, um, it's awesome just to have their help out there. And then if you have a dance, you can have a dance manager, and that is someone who's just going to help you take care of all those logistics included in in hosting a dance. I know that maybe not everybody has a dance, but if you do, it's many details that go into that, and it's super helpful to have a manager for that. And the activities, you know, as you may know, can be very broad, and the athletes enjoy those. And most important, maybe not most importantly, but it's very good to have an opening ceremony manager, again, so that you're not running around and trying to manage all that while everything else is going on. So they can organize the march-in for you, coordinate with those on-site volunteers who are helping with the opening ceremony, and interface with the venue. They can work with getting an honored guest or two to come out as is appropriate, and organize the program, and just really work hand in hand with you on getting that opening ceremony to be a top-notch experience. So hopefully that's helpful. And Kelly, do you have anything you want to chime in on?
Yeah, so what I'd like to do, if you'll back up to the top of that document again, Kathy, and you can still hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, okay. So, you know, what I want to back up and say is, you know, here are some very quick job descriptions, and there are more extensive ones available. And if you look at this, and those of you on the phone, I'm sure we have a whole variety of control freaks on the phone. That's what this all boils down to, right? Is every single one of us wants to have a fantastic event. And so we are just control freaks on some sliding scale, whether you've gotten really good at managing your inner control freak or you just full on own it. And really, if you stop and look at what your job is during spring games, you probably are every single one of these managers on some level. And so, you know, what we're really trying to encourage you all as coordinators and leaders of your local program to put other people in these positions and to really build it out to this number of people. It always comes back to delegating and relying on good people to help you have a great event. And as hard as it is to trust other people to do a good job for you, if you're really trying to carry all of this stuff off yourself, you're probably doing a decent event. But at the end of the day, even if folks aren't quite doing things exactly the way you would do them, they probably would put on a better event for you if you could really divvy out the jobs and put them in place. The big message that we always share is, in general, a local committee is completely different from your spring games committee. And that's why we actually call it a games management team, just completely different terminology. These are folks, their main focus is just putting this event on. And a lot of times you're going to have some overlap inevitably, but so often we're burning people out because we're asking them to commit for the entire year. And then on top of that, also put on the spring games. Or you have a committee who's maybe they come and meet you some of the rest of the year, but really what they are is just your spring games committee, and they're not a year-round local committee. So there is a distinct difference between those two groups. But in looking at the games management team, ideally what your role should be is that venue manager. You really have no specific job the day of spring games other than parking yourself in a very visible spot under the main operations tent with a nice walkie-talkie in your hand, cell phone in the other hand, and you are available to do nothing but provide direction and answer questions, because inevitably, I'm sure you guys, those of you who've done this for many years or just started, you found that people are just queued up asking you for information, and that really does a disservice to you because it makes you insane, and it really can hold things up for the event overall. So where you can serve as the venue manager just as that resource, but you're not running off trying to run all these other things, it's really going to make that process a lot smoother. For competition manager, you all, generally we're talking about track and field events, and so we're not necessarily talking about one competition manager. Often it's a manager of just the softball throw area. It's a manager of just the jump pits. It's a manager of the track. But often what I see happen is that you guys are getting people who know the sport. A lot of times they're PE teachers from your local school system, but they're showing up the day of and jumping out there and running your events. And as much as they may know their sport, they haven't been a part of your planning and really know how your schedule's running and what all you may need from them. And again, you may have had these people doing this stuff for you for a number of years, but a great improvement for you would be to just have that one good conversation, to meet with those folks beforehand, to truly make them competition managers so they have information in their hands beforehand. They feel really comfortable with how the schedule's going to roll, how those events are being handled, how they're handling athletes who've missed their event and come up there. Some of those nuances that they're not running back to you asking you questions. So competition manager really, is probably multiple people. And then admin manager, Kathy mentioned, people handling results. We often see coordinators. You guys are out there wanting to get trained on GMS. And ideally, I'd like for you not to get trained on GMS, on the games management software. I'd rather you, from the get-go, have somebody who is managing that for you. Remove that temptation of you getting pulled into it. And we have really done a whole lot more work of trying to provide training for that. Lauren and Nathan and Andrea, all on our sports staff, now have an account set up so they can actually log into your computer and operate GMS on your screen to show you how to do certain things. So they can do a lot of training for your admin managers that way, remotely. And then we are also offering more upfront help so that if you guys want to send your Springs information into us, we have so many volunteers that are helping in our office who can actually help with some of that upfront, setting up the event, getting information plugged in, running some of the divisioning wizards for you so that we can then hand GMS to you, and you're able just to print the reports you need and the labels you need. So because we realize that a lot of times you all are only using this system for an event once or twice a year. And we all know anything you try to learn and you only do it once or twice a year, you're not going to be able to retain a lot. That's just the nature of it. So really do look at who's handling your results, because it is so important to have that flow from competition to results to awards day of, but more importantly, to not have you killing yourself trying to plug everybody's times into an Excel spreadsheet and then trying to figure out divisioning and doing it by hand. And everybody's been there. It's still happening in a lot of places, and it's a lot of work that we can help you guys avoid. But again, it boils down to having somebody who can dedicate their time to it. Volunteer managers, absolutely essential to have somebody who's managing your volunteers. I think that might be one that more often than not you guys may already have somebody doing that, but just to reiterate the importance of a completely separate person. And then Kathy mentioned awards. 9 times out of 10, unless you're a very small program, you are doing rolling awards. And again, a lot of times you all have multiple awards areas. I know Johnson County has 5 different awards tents that they have set up. So to have a manager under each one of those tents who their whole job is running awards, but again, to have one good awards training that everybody understands how it's supposed to go, how they deal with any funky things that come up, and it's not on your plate is really huge. You all know there's a very standard way to present awards, and awards are a sleeping beast. right? We all know that people are like, oh, it's very simple. You put them on the podium, you put a medal around their neck, you cheer, it's all good. And boy, that'll just turn on you in a heartbeat. And to have people who've gotten some training and feel comfortable with it and can have a system in place from the very beginning so that you don't suddenly have 50 people standing around the awards tent waiting for their awards, getting frustrated, missing their next race because they got stuck at awards. We all know that that's such an important part of the experience for the athletes. And so often, I think it's one that doesn't get the attention it deserves and can quickly just turn into not a great experience for a lot of you guys. And then logistics manager. I know a lot of you guys are out there being logistics managers, and you're like, it's okay. Me and my hubby went out and spent 4 hours setting up the venue the day before. I still hear it a lot, and to have somebody who's doing nothing but dealing with your equipment and troubleshooting all of that for you the day of is enormous. And then athlete rep is a bonus. I think Kathy spoke to that nicely. And then dance and Olympic Town, very often that's Olympic Town activities for you all. I think probably a lot of folks are thinking, we don't have the resources or the time to add kind of that extra Olympic Town area for those that come out and have some downtime, or maybe even some of the students who come with their class, but they didn't complete their athlete participation form. Olympic Town is an awesome place to put a completely separate group of people to do nothing but run your Olympic Town, and you just don't even touch it. You have them come out, set it all up, run it, and that's one that can very easily run standalone. And then opening ceremonies, the very last one, I think is probably the most common one that I see the local coordinators hang on to. And that's one where you're like, oh, I already know the people in the school, so I can line up the superintendent, and hey, I already know the police officer, so I'll just give them a call about the torch run, and I know my athletes, so I'll pick my athlete oath, and hey, I already know the other dignitaries I want to invite. Well, that was just 5 or 6 to-do items that you could very easily hand some phone numbers over to a person. They can be the one doing all those things for you. And they can very importantly be the one up there at your stage, all those guests, making sure they know how things are going to run, make sure your opening ceremonies run smoothly. And again, you're freed up to really troubleshoot and deal with other things. And I think that's probably the most common thing is we all say, oh, that's only going to take me 5 minutes. I'll just do it. Those 5 minutes very, very quickly add up. And next thing you know, you just have a whole bunch of 5 minutes that have left you with no time for anything else, including just having a life. And we all love Special Olympics. We all love spring games. We all love events. That's all the reasons we're in it, right on top of loving doing something great for the athletes. But we don't want to see you burning yourselves out. We want to make sure it's positive and that it's something that you can just keep on doing for years and years to come with the great experience that you have under your belt. So that's kind of the long and the short of building out a committee. And I think that the other piece is really the communication piece. We mentioned descriptions, giving them a more extensive description of what they need to do, and we can provide those. And then also having at least 2 good planning meetings with the entire group, insisting really the importance of getting everyone in one room. It's amazing how even if you have been doing spring games for 20 years, you can still get the same group of people in the room, and there is still stuff that needs to be hashed out or things you want to improve the next year. So I just really cannot emphasize enough how much a good planning meeting will serve you, to do it a few months out, and then definitely to do one at least the week of your games, because that's really when your brains get cranking and you have those last minute questions, last minute details to review. And then very importantly in that last meeting, you all can make a decision together of what time the entire team should be out at your venue. It's not what time the logistics manager should be there, 2 hours before everybody else. It's one time your entire the games management team can be there, so that you all are there as a group. You have time to just get things rolling, get it all good to go, and have a good chat in the morning before anybody arrives. So those are kind of some of the key things with the communication for your games management team. So Kathy, I will just pass the ball back over to you to see if you have any questions or suggestions that have come into you, and also if there's anything else you want to say on making the more extensive job descriptions available for folks.
So as far as the more extensive job descriptions, we can get those posted up on the updates page for you guys. And also we have a Spring Games toolkit, which we're breaking down into smaller pieces for you. So you will see those appearing soon up on the page. I'm not going to promise this week because I am personally heading out, but we will get that up there soon. So let's see. So we will get that posted for you. Of course, we have other webinars coming up. And in terms of maybe sourcing some of those GMT members, we are having some good results on Volunteer Match. If anybody wants to reach out to me at klangfield@specialsonc.net, I will be happy to post those for you. You probably want a few weeks lead time, so if your games are coming up really soon, it might be a little bit late, but we can work on that. And we found some fantastic volunteers that way for some of the local programs. We'd love to help you. As far as questions and comments, somebody is extremely excited about the fact that we're going to have remote GMS training. So that's what we have in terms of questions and comments that I've seen come through. Anybody else have anything that they would like to add at this time? You can raise your hand, put a question, and I can unmute you if you like.
Good. And Kathy, I'll ask too. So you pulled up the updates page, which is where we try and put new stuff. But if you could also just pull up the resource library and show where the current Spring Games Toolkit document and some other documents are located on there, just so everybody can see that. And then I will just reiterate the volunteer match. We've talked about this in several other settings, and it won't always be the magic solution. It's not 100% now, but it's definitely a great tool for us now. And a good example, Kathy posted some very, she did an interest meeting for some new folks to join our summer games management team. And one fellow responded, and I actually got him started by volunteering at the Wake County Polar Plunge this past Saturday. Brand new, no affiliation with the current program at all. And he showed up, and we said, what we need is an announcer and a DJ. And he said, whatever you need. And he came out and did that. And not only did he come out and do that, but he came out dressed fully as an NC State Wolfpack Wolf. It was amazing. It was fantastic. So just a brand new person to the program who's enthusiastic and willing to jump in and help with whatever he may need to. And he's specifically going to be helping with logistics for summer games. But, we can post what we found is when we post very specific jobs that we are specifically looking for someone to help with our opening ceremonies. There are folks out there who are like, oh, that's just the thing I like to do. And you'd be amazed. So definitely reach out to Kathy on that.
Awesome. Here's sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, here's this current Spring Games Toolkit, which is very long. And we were breaking that down and just double checking, making it more current, but you're welcome to view it. It is here right now, but we're gonna make that a little more spiffy for you. There's some good things here that'll be helpful for you as well: logistics, schedules, equipment lists, and all that. That's it.
Great, thank you, Kathy.